This video was not sponsored by Adidas. What up YouTube? It's YZOwin.
Hello, it's YZOwin.
And this is our 5th video. And we're going to tell you how to work it. Hopefully after this whole COVID thing is kind of going down, people are either thinking about, changing their careers or, starting a new one even, especially if you're a new grad. Given that we both have different experiences finding our careers.
Yeah.
Why not share it with the whole world? And what is the first mistake we did? I think my biggest mistake was not knowing really what I wanted to pursue as a career. So just
that's normal though.
In a way where it's like, hey, I did all this schooling, I did all this studying, and then went back to school again to learn more. The way I'm kind of phrasing it is probably wrong, but essentially there was a lot of options for me to think about, but I didn't really specifically focus on one. So my background is in digital marketing, right? And there's one or two ways I could go in the marketing industry. It's either working for a business, meaning in-house, and the other side, which is agency, right? So I was so determined to work for a marketing agency, I just fucked everything else, right? And I got that, right? I did get a chance to work in an agency, and oh my god, it was the best experience ever.
Wow.
Let me tell you, I do not want to work at an agency anymore. I think one of my first mistakes that I did was not really meeting people to kind of learn from or network actually, because I was just kind of going in it blind, kind of hearing what people are saying, but not really understanding, what people are doing, right? Like, think of it this way, like, how in high school or elementary school, it's like, go to your parents' work day sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought, or that's what networking is. You're kind of getting an insight as to, a day in the life of a marketer or a designer or, an entrepreneur in a business sense. Yeah, so I think that's my first mistake, is just not knowing who to talk to or even trying to figure out who to talk to. And, by the time I did, I was all flustered. I was like, oh, fuck, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to ask you, so I'm sorry for wasting your time. And then, I just blew a connection, right? Because, if someone liked you through a networking event or some sort of networking, there's a higher chance for you to actually be, finding a job or land the job that you really want, because there's already that personal connection to a position, right? Like,
Gotcha.
My advice for, career seekers would be to go to networking events and to maybe network with, talent seekers. So like headhunters, right? Like their purpose there is to meet people to hire. Like they have no other ulterior motive, right?
Literally. That kind of reminds me of just when you're in school and profs throw opportunities at you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so many. Kind of the same thing. Events, come to extracurricular stuff here, so to meet people here. Right. And you just have all these opportunities thrown at you that it's just like very overwhelming, so you don't end up going. I've never went to any of those ever. Like they'd have Facebook come in, they'd have LinkedIn come in. Yeah, they'd have Google come in to our school, and people are like there specifically to get like interns or to have people like ask questions about it's like working there. And I've never gone, ever.
See, I wish my university did that.
Wait, what? Yeah. Yours didn't?
No. Well, okay, so I went to 2 different schools for post-secondary.
True.
Right?
Yeah,
so I went to a private institution after university. So what's so special about that institution was they purposely tried to network you to people in the industry, right? So I was thankful that, the marketing industry here in Vancouver is relatively large, but also small enough to get to know people. So luckily I did get to meet people through that. But again, I didn't really utilize that to the fullest extent. So I remember closer to the halfway point. So backtrack, like my program was 1 year, 6 months of school, 6 months of like a work placement or an internship. Right. So 6 months after the whole schooling part is done, we have to set up our own event, kind of like a networking style speed dating event where we have to pitch ourselves to the companies there.
Cool.
And we have our portfolio set up, resumes, we all look sharp, and the unfortunate part about that was, it was in a small space, so we couldn't really, pitch ourselves properly to whoever was there, right? And that, I guess, to me, that was my real first taste of networking, right? Because I never really went to networking events per se. I went to, kind of just stalk people on LinkedIn, see who they know that I knew, ask for a soft intro that way. I mean, that's still kind of networking in a sense, because you're trying to connect with someone who has a similar or a shared connection with you, right? So again, job seeking, use LinkedIn, easiest way to at least find information, right? Like, even if you don't know anyone that might know that person, you at least know. So when you submit like your resume, your cover letter, or anything like that, you can at least dress it to, Mr. Smith or Miss Wong, or, something like that, to make it more personable. Because from a recruiting standpoint, that's a lot more attractive than saying, to whom it may concern. Dear ma'am. Dear sir.
Totally.
Sure, you could have a kick-ass resume, but if that's the first thing I read, personally, I'd be like, do I have to read this now? Because you can't make it personal, right?
Exactly.
So
that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, the jobs that we have now, I kind of got lucky, right?
Yeah.
And then you're a freelancer.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me, as the life of a freelancer, how did you get your clients? Was it through networking, or was it?
It's all over the place. It's super interesting. So many different avenues, I suppose. The first one is social media. There's so many. If you're a freelancer too, I'd suggest you do this as well. But on Facebook, there are so many specific groups for entrepreneurs here in Vancouver. So what I would do, and when we used to do events, was we would post in those groups. But how I would find clients, the biggest way I'd find clients, is that people would always post in those.
Really?
Yeah, because they're
looking for clients, or looking for people.
Looking for a designer.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're business owners, right? So they would want ideally contractors and not specifically employees to do odd small jobs for them.
Of course.
Sometimes they're not long term, but if you get the long-term clients, then yes. But a lot of people just literally type in Vancouver entrepreneurs or Vancouver business owners, and then there's specific entrepreneur groups for just women entrepreneurs. In those groups, they get the most engagement because everyone's women empowerment, I want to hire women, So that's actually where I end up getting my clients. But I've learned the best conversions come from two things. So the first one is calling them right away. Don't send an email, send an email, but be let's hop on a call right away, now. And they'll be sure. And then you can convert somebody on the call on the spot. And then the second one,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then the second one is to follow up on emails. You'll be surprised at how many people just forget to reply to you.
Oh, yeah.
But if you just follow up, easy conversion.
100%.
Get them on the phone, easy.
100%.
Oof. Yeah, I've learned that recently.
Right. That's so cool.
It's crazy. Kind of touching back on the mistakes that we made. The second biggest mistake I'd say is very early on in my career, I had so much self-doubt. That is something that I really wish I tackled at the beginning, because it really pushed the timeline of my success way farther than it could have been. If I could have just tackled all those mental roadblocks and mental walls that I had for myself, and understood my own self limitations and self boundaries, and
just understanding who you are.
Yeah, and self awareness, right?
Yeah,
and who you want to be and where you want to go,
exactly.
Right? Because there are sometimes as a freelancer, you get clients who you would just take on for the money, but not specifically because you have a connection to them or the industry, but you'll just take it on. And at the end of the day, a lot of those people either abuse you in some kind of way, or way undercharge. You undercharge because you just want the money. So you're I'll just do this for $100, whatever.
Oh, of course.
Fuck, lots of lessons.
Oh, God, don't even get me started.
Yeah, with your charging, with your boundaries as how you communicate with a client, how to set up contracts. All that stuff is its own thing, in itself, yeah. But in order to get there first, you have to understand, your own mental self-limitations and how to break through them, because for the longest time I was like, fuck, like, can I even do this? Like, am I worthy of this? Is this something that I can see myself doing long term?
Yeah.
But is this something that I even want for myself? Like, do I deserve like making this amount of money? And like that's like a thing people don't understand they deal with, right?
Exactly. Like what is your value that you're wanting to provide to people? And I think, you know, especially like from the freelance world,
totally.
Like I've been there, right? Like I wanted to do my own thing, you know, and I still want to do my own thing, right? And then do it, you know, in a way where I need to really look out for myself first, rather than, you know, like
people pleasing.
Yeah, people pleasing, right? And, you know, just to your point, like understanding what your value is, right? Like if you feel like your value is $100, go ahead. But you also need to justify why it's also $100. Vice versa, if your value is $1,000, you need to better damn well understand that why you're worth $1,000, right? Because at the end of the day, like you are treating a freelancer as a business, right? Like you make business partnerships in a way where it benefits obviously your own self as a business, and then the other party, which is, you know, for example, a freelancer.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, so, you know, now what I do is, you know, I work in a corporate office. I'm in the marketing department of that, and mainly in charge of digital marketing. Love it. And, you know, I get these cold calls every now and then from people who are wanting to, you know, pick up some projects, right? Or, you know, have us as their client for whatever, like, agency they're running. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I totally see where you're coming from. I definitely see where they're coming from. But one thing that some people might understand that you kind of touched on a little bit is, you know, getting that, you know, that pitch, that, you know, getting that pitch right, and, you know, closing that sale, right? Like, yes, it's good that you can close a sale if you're, you know, on like a Facebook group and they're looking for a freelancer, but if you can't get your pitch right, like, I'm sorry, like that person on the other call is going to be like, I'm sorry, I don't need you, because in their head, they're probably thinking your pitch sucks because I don't need you, or they don't need you, right? Like, I know it's hard to get clients, you know, and I know it's hard being like, you know, in sales, trying to get as many clients as you can. If you're an agency, right? Like, oh my God, believe you me, I've been there too. Like,
I know.
Working in an agency.
We've worked together, like, it's just been crazy. It's ridiculous. So many times we were like, do we even want to do this?
Right? Like it's... but you know,
hard.
we and you keep going, right? But I guess my advice is, you know, really understand who your customer is, right? Like creating that niche, because you know, I have accepted calls from cold calls before saying, yeah, I think your product is good or your service is warranted for that. You know, I give them a follow-up. Follow-up is good because yes, like I get like 10,000 emails a day, because, you know, I'm in charge of digital marketing for an entire company nationwide. Like, that's a lot of fucking people I'm talking to at the same time, right? Yeah. So, you know, emails are going to get lost. And I'm sure someone who you're contacting is probably going to be in that same boat. So don't feel like you're kind of nagging that person with a follow-up. 99% of it, they'll appreciate it, right? Whether or not your first contact with them was successful, man, that's the individual, right? Like when people follow up with me, you know, I don't even remember some of them. Some of them I do remember, but unfortunately I just don't know, you know, where we see the fit. Right? So understanding that. And, you know, I guess going back to, you know, mistakes about career, this is kind of just outside the business kind of world, is picking up those odd jobs, right? Like, yes, money is going to be tight, especially around this time. And, you know, not saying be desperate, pick up anything. If a job comes up that's remotely related to the industry that you're interested in, pick it up, right? You'll never know. You know, like for me, like I never thought I'd wanted to be in the coffee shop industry. But there I am working 6 years later at Starbucks, you know, not because they're such a great company, but, you know, it was a job. I needed the money, and I learned a lot about business from Starbucks. If anything, a lot of the things I learned from Starbucks, I'm actually applying now on my current job, right? And, you know, if you're afraid of, you know, kind of wasting your time, it's like, no, I really want this job, but I don't want to, you know, work for anyone else right now. Fuck that, man. Like, holy shit. Like I said, money is hard to come by right now. And again, not saying that you should settle for the lowest paying job or anything, have some kind of boundaries that you should set for yourself. But if you pick up a job and you feel like it's, kind of holding you back from your long term, don't think that way, because that mentality is already holding you back. Like, you want to be in a place where you want to be, stable, where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you want to be your own boss, be a freelancer, be an entrepreneur, well, unfortunately, how else are you going to learn if you're not learning from someone else?
Totally.
Right? Like, knowledge is spread that way, especially when it comes down to business,
I agree.
And hell, like, if you have a hobby, make it into a business. Face mask, like, suddenly everyone is, a textile expert about making masks, or making gloves, or, protective equipment. And, if you haven't jumped on this trend yet, but baking bread, hell, everyone's a baker, right? And, with tools like social media and, e-commerce sites, like, it's so much more easier to
accessible.
And accessible to start your own business.
Agreed.
Right? Like, yes, hypocrite what I'm about to say, but starting your own business is easy, but there's still a lot of things you need to learn about running your own business. Right? And that's where, experts like us kind of come in. Holla, check it.
We got you.
Slide in our DMs. We got you. Free business consulting.
Let's hop on a call.
Close this deal now. But if you feel like, starting your own business just to get your own money and, save up to do what you really want to do, then do it, right?
Yeah, why not?
And, we're probably biased because we come from a business background, but hell, if there's anything else, like, for example, are you good at playing guitar, the keyboard? Well, holla at me, because I am trying to play the keyboard. All right.
Yes.
If you have a talent and you are okay with exploiting that, you can make money off of it. This is capitalism, ladies and gentlemen. You have a skill, you have a talent, you have something to provide that not everyone can. You can make money off of it. Like, oh my God, as sad as it is.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Right?
It's
so,
crazy.
A career shouldn't just be defined based on what you did in school or what you studied, right?
Yeah,
I think
100% agree.
Because if you think about it, like, let's say on average, someone starts their career around the age of 25. And average life expectancy is about 75. Retirement age, at least here in Canada, is 65. So, from 25 to 65, you have 40 years to work.
Yes.
Right?
It's a long time.
That's a long time to work. You better love what the fuck you're doing.
Facts.
Right? Because I think you mentioned before, like, people change their careers, what? Seven times on average. On average, 7 times. Right? Luckily for me, I never really had to change my career. And I don't know how many times you thought you had to change your career.
1 million times.
Right? But you always led back to that one thing, which was what? Marketing?
Yeah, and like creative.
And creative marketing,
like
right?
media.
So, like, luckily for us, we didn't have to change our path so many times. But who's to say that you have to stick on this one path?
Like, who knows, right?
Like, today you could be, a really amazing chef making bread. Tomorrow you could be a business executive. The next day you could be making YouTube videos for all I care, right?
Like, honestly, you just don't know where life will take you.
Don't know, right?
Like, who knows? This channel might pick up and we'll both quit. We'll never have to freelance ever again.
I know, right?
Like, it's possible, right?
Exactly.
Like, who knows?
Right? So make sure you subscribe and like this video, guys, because our long-term goal, not to work, pay off our student loans, making sure that our families are fed.
Facts.
Don't feel like you're going to be...
pressure.
That pressure.
To, like, figure it out right away. Especially if you're still in school. Yeah,
like, have fun, explore, pick up a job at a coffee shop. You might want to open up your own coffee shop. And, or, if you're studying sciences or, social studies, pick up a hobby, or your hobby.
Backtrack.
If you're studying social studies or sciences, but you have like such a great knack for crafts, go on Etsy, man, sell that shit. Like, have people appreciate your work. I think that's the biggest advice,
Yeah.
you know, I could tell anyone who's looking for a career or trying to find out what their career would be, is to find something that you know people are going to appreciate you for. From the creative standpoint, like people appreciate the work that you provide, you know, the outcome, because it looks pretty, it looks nice, it meets their, you know, vision, whatever. For me, it's like, you know, ensuring that our message as a company and corporately is getting across, that our values are getting across. You know, a lot of people appreciate that, and I see that, right?
Totally.
So
it's awesome. It's fulfilling. It's fulfilling when it's fun and you love what you do. Like, just have fun with it, to be honest. If it's not fun, it's not for you. Like, that's what I've learned.
Advice. Yes. If
It
it's
is.
not fun, it's not for
It's
you.
really not. Like, you should love and like feel like you're alive. Like, do you live to work or work to live? You know what I'm saying?
I agree. We don't live for the purpose of working.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's also, you know, oxymoron, because
Capitalism. Honestly.
Girl,
like,
going with facts tonight.
Get an RRSP. As soon as you can. It'll be your next video. Please do. And a TFSA.
Oh my god, savings account. Get that shit going, man. Alright guys, if you want us to work and still live, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and share button. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Peace.